Hello again, my beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy that you're here to join me. I'm happy that you are here with me so we can talk about a wonderful show that I love and many other people love called Steven Universe. Now, I'm just going to preface this video by saying, if you are not caught up with Steven Universe, one, what are you doing with your life? And two, skip this video now because this is going to be all spoilers and it's going to mainly talk about the plot that happens in Steven Universe Future, the epilogue series that happened after the original series ended. So just fair warning, spoiler talking about it today. Today we are going to talk about one of the minor side characters in the show that wasn't really given much spotlight. And here is the character that we're talking about. We are talking about the Dr. Priyanka Maheshwaran. I'm hoping I said her name correctly. Dr. Maheshwaran is the mother of Connie Maheshwaran, who, if you know from the show, is Steven's best friend, low-key love interest, and she is a very, very strict mother. Dr. Maheshwaran, she is a doctor. I don't remember what kind of specialty she is, but she works in the emergency room, and you see her throughout the series in a couple of episodes here and there doing her normal doctor business. She's very intimidating. She's very straight to the point. She is very strict and overprotective of her daughter, but all in good nature because she cares for Connie. But in this case, we are seeing how Dr. Maheshwaran has grown to care and love for Steven, the main character. Throughout the original series, you didn't really see them interact much other than one episode where they first met. Dr. Maheshwaran didn't really like Steven all that much, but now we're taking place 2 years into the future, so things have obviously changed. In this episode, well, actually first, in the episodes leading up to this episode called Growing Pains, Steven has been going through a lot of changes. If you notice, he has been growing pink, random limbs start growing, he has violent outbursts when he's under a lot of stress, and essentially he's just going through a really difficult time, and at this point in the series we don't know why he's going through a difficult time, and neither does Steven. So Steven decides to go to the doctor for the first time ever. In fact, he's never been to the doctor for anything. So when he goes, he's of course scared, he's a little bit nervous, and he thinks that nothing's wrong, everything's fine, these are all just normal things that happen to him, and he's kind of chalking it up to, well, we don't know what's going on, but I'm half gem, so maybe I can't really go to a normal human doctor. Dr. Maheshwaran is not having it. She wants to know what is going on with Steven and wants to get to the bottom of this, just like any good doctor would, because you care for your patients and you want to make sure that your patients, no matter whether they're human or not, are healthy. I guess at least in the context of this show. Now, the way that Dr. Maheshwaran goes about discussing with Steven what is going on with his body, I think was done absolutely perfectly, and here is why. Dr. Maheshwaran is one of the best examples of a doctor and shows one of the best examples of a proper patient-doctor experience when you're going to the doctor's office. Now, doctors aren't really seen as that personable in a lot of shows. In cartoons, I don't even think they're talked about that much or even see that many doctor figures. I mean, unless you count Dr. McStuffins, but that's for little kids. But in a general mainstream experience, you don't really see that many doctors. So for the fact that Dr. Maheshwaran was able to talk to Steven about what was going on with his body, first, let's talk about this. Steven was going under so much stress, and she was able to deduce that all of the stressful events that he had gone through from the previous series, from having to stop the diamonds from destroying the earth, having to stop the cluster from destroying the earth, every single bad experience that the boy has gone through, physically he was fine. Physically, because of his gem, he was able to bounce back no problem. But mentally and emotionally, it was doing so much damage to him. And that was something that he wasn't able to resonate with or fully understand. The fact that Dr. Maheshwaran looked him in the eye, went down to his level, and said there may be something wrong emotionally. She didn't say that he was crazy, even though he thought that's what she meant. She didn't say that he was crazy. She just said, you have gone through a lot of harmful experiences for someone so young that it is manifesting as extreme stress in your body. Because your half gem is manifesting as these random growth spurts and painful situations. But the way she talked about adverse childhood experiences was done beautifully. Adverse childhood experiences are a real thing. What we find for a lot of kids is that if they grow up in very stressful environments, say in abusive homes, in homelessness, food insecurity, so many things that kids don't normally want to go through or anybody wants to go through. Those experiences, they may think that they're fine because they're used to it, but overall it can have a negative impact on their health in the form of diabetes, obesity, high blood pressure, a higher risk for heart attacks, so many other things, because you are a kid who is under constant stress, and that manifests as physical stress on your body. That's something that isn't talked about that much in modern day medicine, let alone on a kids show. Do you realize the impact of what Dr. Maheshwaran, what Dr. Maheshwaran has done in terms of explaining how a doctor visit is supposed to go? That is amazing. She was able to break down childhood experiences, adverse childhood experiences, down to Steven's level, resonate with him, and make him understand that what was going on with his body was based on stress, and that he did not deserve to go through all of that stress. That is a powerful message for kids of all ages, whether they're going through a high amount of stress in school or a high amount of stress at home. They are learning that the way that their body processes stress, with the increase in cortisol levels, with the physical pain that can happen from stress manifesting, they are learning that that's not something that's normal, and that's not something that should be their normal in their adult life. She is teaching Steven, and therefore teaching kids, that they have to learn how to manage their stress in a healthy way, both mentally and emotionally, so it doesn't hurt them physically. That is a powerful, powerful lesson that Rebecca Sugar was able to teach through that episode. And I don't even think she understands, well, maybe she does. I don't think you guys understand just how impactful this episode was, at least for me. For me, this episode made me learn that I stand Dr. Maheshwaran. That woman is one of the best examples of a doctor portrayed in cartoons, and I love the lessons that she taught Steven in terms of managing stress and in terms of what stress can do to your body. That's something that adults have a hard time understanding. That's something that people don't recognize as a thing. People don't recognize that mental health and physical health can greatly impact our everyday lives, with how we communicate with people, how we relate to others, how we relate to ourselves, and how we deal with our own selves and our own stresses. ACEs, stress, all those things are really, really hard to handle, and Dr. Maheshwaran brought that down to a kid's level, and that was just really amazing. So please tell me below in the comments if you did watch this episode. Tell me what your impression is of Dr. Maheshwaran. Did you like her at first? Because personally, I didn't care for her as much in the beginning. I'm not gonna lie. In the beginning, I thought she was a hater. Maybe not a hater, but I thought she was intimidating, rightfully so. She reminds me of like the whole immigrant parent concept. Like, she reminds me of my mom and dad in terms of like the strict upbringing, just for the sake of their daughter, because they care about their daughter. So, which is fine. It's just, she was scary at the beginning. But now that you see her in this episode, specifically again, Growing Pains, Steven Universe Future, telling you, you gotta get on this. She was more humanized and more relatable in terms of how she can speak to a child. Not speak down to a child, speak to. And that's the key thing. She was able to talk to Steven, not talk above him and have like a patriarchal looking down concept on someone that was lower than her because they weren't trained in medicine like she was. She talked to her patients like a human. She talked to Steven with respect and acknowledged his pain, acknowledge all of the problems that he was going through from saving the world 100 billion times. She humanized Steven's experience. Everyone in the show was used to treating him as the hero, the guy that had all the answers, and she was able to see just a scared kid that was going through a hard time and needed someone to just help him with his problems. That was amazing. Like, that was truly, truly amazing. But I digress. I keep talking about how amazing she is. I'm telling you, get on this episode, get to that episode, and you'll see what I mean by looking at the experience of a properly done patient-doctor conversation experience. And that's something that adults can learn from in terms of, this is how you're supposed to be treated when you go to the doctor's office. This is how your child's supposed to be treated when they go to the doctor's office. It's supposed to be a team effort where both of you guys work together to figure out what the problem is and find the best solution for you. Not someone in a lab coat telling you what to do, but someone in a lab coat that has experience to help you figure out the best plan for you. And well, that's it for this video. That's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you were able to learn something from this video. I hope you are inspired to join the Steven Universe bandwagon. We have shirts, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for joining me, and talk in the comments about what character you think was underrated in this show. What other things that you can talk about the show that really resonate with you, just like this resonated for me, okay? So I'll see you next time.